Yeah, but like probably level 1 of 100.
I've been told
Yeah.
that it's just like think about peeing out a bowling ball.
Ooh,
You ever had a gallstone? Imagine that pain times like 1,000.
never had a gallstone.
Do you guys know from experience with gallstones or with labor?
As I
Or the gallstones thing.
I can't remember who told me that, but somebody told me that it's like peeing out a bowling ball to give birth.
Sounds absolutely horrible.
Yeah.
I'll just be yelling at their vagina the whole time, going, "Get out of my wife, you little bastard!"
All right, welcome, everyone. Welcome back to Hard Reset, a Cold North production, where Andrew yells at vaginas. And so, okay,
You guys don't?
no, I just want to hash this out. You said, I'll yell
this
at
down.
the vagina. Get out of my wife, you little bastard.
No, I'm yelling at the baby inside my wife's
I
vagina.
understand. So did
So it's kind
your
of like
wife?
in Prometheus when there's the alien inside of her vagina.
No,
'cause what's his name gets her pregnant with the alien.
He's calling her his wife, and he's calling the
David.
baby a bastard. So did his wife cheat on him, and he knows about it, and he's okay with it, and he's raising someone else's son?
Just a
I
cunt
think
father.
I think that the baby is the alien baby that David put inside of Andrew's wife.
Which
There
technically
you go.
would definitely be a bastard.
Yeah.
I mean, if baby's a bastard and he's let it go for this long, I think it's more
Well,
like a revenge.
Actually, doesn't it?
at this
It
point.
gets
What it
inside of her
truly
in Prometheus
boils down
because
to-
she has sex with the guy who he puts the like fucking alien DNA, the like DNA shit into the guy's drink, and then she has sex with him, and then she gets pregnant with the alien baby.
What it truly boils down to is just that I love the word bastard.
Okay, all right. Well, in case
You
you haven't
bastard.
figured it out, I'm Patrick the Law Morris, and joining me this week we have gorgeous Ben Reynolds,
Meow.
the tenacious Tim Miller. Oh, Tim didn't say anything.
It's full of alien babies.
Okay. Still don't hear you, Tim.
Yeah, Tim, you're too full of alien babies.
And the effervescent Andrew Etchen.
Hello, hello. I'll say mine twice on Tim's behalf.
Hello.
Oh, there we
it
go.
is.
There's Tim. There's Tim.
Yay!
The alien babies, they got out of him.
I don't feel like anything that I said about that got heard.
Probably pooped him out.
Nah, I vomited them up.
Anyways,
Yep.
so we're going to be talking this week about what is the best handheld. We're freeballing it today. We're not.
Does the Switch count in
Are
there?
you gonna tell that one news
Absolutely.
story that I dropped today?
What story?
The news story about PS
About
Now.
which one?
Oh
did you-
yes.
PS
That's-
Now, bro.
Oh
Yep,
yeah,
it's
definitely.
going down in price.
Definitely. So we're gonna get to some news, but before we get to all of that, I want to know what you guys have been playing this week. Ben, tell me what you've been playing this week.
Not Borderlands
Same.
3.
Same.
Wanted to play that, but could not. So ended up playing a lot of Link's Awakening.
Nice.
Why couldn't you play Borderlands? Nobody was there to play
Connection
with you, or it
issues.
just was being shitty?
You were there, bro.
Oh, right. I forgot.
So, Ben, how far are you in Link's Awakening?
I just got the compass in the Catfish's Maw or whatever it's called.
Oh, okay. So you still have a ways to go.
Okay, you're on Dungeon 5.
Yeah.
Good shit.
I would say you're probably like
Little
like 60
halfway.
60% of the way through.
It's one of those things where it's like today I had a half an hour to kill at work, and so I just picked it up and played a half an hour, and that's sort of how I've been playing it.
Nice. And it plays so well in that style.
Mm-hmm.
Like the dungeons, you don't, especially the earlier dungeons. Towards the later dungeons, it's definitely like you want to run them all at once. But in the early game, it's like the dungeons are easy and simple enough that it's like you can play it in short bursts and you're not going to be totally lost.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so yeah, I'm into that game. How are you? So how are you feeling about it so far?
I mean, like I said last week, I'm really enjoying it. I like it better than when the Breath of the Wild. And yeah, I think it's a great experience. I remember parts of the game, and then there's also a lot of parts that I don't really remember because I think I probably only, eh, if ever played it, or I mean, I know I played it. I think I only probably played it all the way through at one time. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Nice. All right. Tim, what have you been playing this week?
So I beat Link's Awakening last week, so I haven't been touching that, but game was fantastic. Just got to put that in there. But I've been playing Control a lot this week.
Ooh, nice.
And I got to say, I have a love-hate relationship with that game. I really do.
Performance
I never beat
issues,
it, I realized.
What's making you hate it?
A lot of... Not so much the... I've gotten to the point where I'm too powerful and I'm only like 3 hours into the game, I feel. Like, I can't die.
That'll balance out.
That'll
Incredibly easy.
Yeah, that'll change.
So that's one thing I hate. Another thing I hate is, it gives you like the target of where to go, but it's so vague about it that like I find myself going in the complete opposite direction of where I need to go to get to where I need to go. It's weird.
The map is pretty terrible.
Yeah,
it's a little confusing.
And I mean, I know that they wanted it to. I think that they deliberately wanted it to be a little confusing, but it's almost too confusing.
Yeah.
Or it needs to have like an arrow or something that points you to because there were definitely a lot of situations where I would think I was going the right way only to realize that I had been going the complete wrong direction. And it's like, it almost like it needs like an arrow to tell you like, yeah, you're going down the right hallway or something like that. Like,
yeah.
And like, I get that it's supposed to be like a Metroidvania style, like they want you to explore and stuff like that. But when almost everything in the entire bureau looks the same in like each section, like, yeah, all the sections look different from one another, but every room inside that section looks the same. It's like, okay, I'm getting lost really easily.
Yeah, I think that it definitely been kind of going off what you were saying about an arrow. I think that if the game detected you running like aimlessly, not accomplishing anything for like 5 minutes, maybe it could just very subtly just give you like, hey, like, do you want some guidance on where to go? And then like take you there. Or like,
I mean, I don't even mind having to go back and talk to someone to figure it out, but when they tell me, hey, go here, and I go here and there's nothing there to do, and I actually have to go back and talk to this other person that's way over here only to get access to this over here, it's like, okay, now you're running me around and telling me the wrong things to do. And it's
giving me the runaround.
Little bit
That's
frustrating.
Interesting. I feel like I had a little bit of that in the beginning, but then I feel like it just going into places and going, oh, okay, I think I've been here before, and then turning around and like going to a different part helped me figure out where to go.
When I had to get to find my brother, that was like the fucking almost ready to just quit.
That's where I got very frustrated too.
Because I was just like, I just don't understand where the fuck I'm supposed to go. And
I was not even that far.
Look it up. And so I was like, okay. So I just looked it up.
So that's the thing, I don't want to look up anything about this game. I want to be able to get through it without that shit.
That's something that I've come to the realization of. And maybe if I get Witcher for Switch, I'll just use a guide and not and maybe I'll be able to beat the whatchamacallit, the Leberkin, and be able to play The Witcher. But that's something that I've realized, that it's like one of those things where I'm gonna enjoy a game a lot more if I look things up. Like, I didn't look up things on God of War, and like there's definitely games where I don't. I guess I did look up some combat stuff on some of the bosses in God of War, but it's in general I don't try to, but if I find myself getting really pissed off with a game, I have no problem with looking stuff up.
Yeah, I'm never gonna let a game be not fun. If like, or not necessarily not fun, but just be like
frustrating.
I'm not enjoying this in the way I'm supposed to, or in the way I want to. And so I'm never going to like punish myself in that way. That's just not what games are about for me. Tim, I know that you feel very differently. That's totally your thing, is like running into the wall. And that's fine. That's how people play games differently. But
yeah, there definitely have been a couple times in Link's Awakening where I've been like, what the fuck am I supposed to do?
Yeah, that's one of my biggest criticisms of Link's Awakening, is that there are times when that game is just entirely too vague.
Take me to my house. It's the house by the bay. Like, what? And then...
No, it's the house by the... Yeah, I'm not going to say it, but it's not even
Zelda.
near the bay.
That's Zelda.
It technically is by the bay, but it's not technically by the bay. Like, you can't get to it from the bayside.
But it's shitty to do so.
Oh, yeah, I guess you technically could, but it'd be hard to get running fast enough, I think. But
yeah,
in any case.
Yeah. And so, Andrew, what have you been playing this week?
Oh, I've also been playing Link's Awakening. I'm on the last dungeon. I just walked into it and then saved and stopped. So I'll finish that up soon.
I got very lost at the end of that one.
I have also been playing The Surge 2. I'm loving that. I fucking love that game. I'm maybe 2 bosses from the end, so I'm planning on finishing that tonight. But if you're looking for a Metroidvania type game that does not really get confusing on where to go and is consistently beautiful and incredible, I got Ori and the Blind Forest for the Switch, and holy shit, that game is very, very, very beautiful. I played a game a long time ago called Dust. I think it's called Dust and Elysian Tale.
An Elysian Tale.
That game is all the whole style of the game feels and looks like a gigantic Disney painting. And Ori kind of has a little bit of that similar, the art style itself is so engaging and the music and stuff is done so well that the game is, generally pretty simple, but it's very beautiful and well done, and keeps me playing just because it's very dramatic. And
how much?
No, it's $20. No spoilers. Don't spoil anything.
I hadn't played it and seen anything of it until I suddenly saw it on Switch, and I'd been wanting it for a while, so I got it 2 days ago, and I think I'm maybe 60% of the way through or so.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna buy it.
Didn't you play it?
I haven't played it, but I've heard it's fantastic, and I've always meant to play it. And now that it's on Switch, I feel like I just don't have any more excuses.
I feel like I thought... Tim, have you played it?
I've played it, yes.
Oh, okay, Tim's
I think the combat in it is
I know
super basic, but at the same time, I think as you get more powers, I started realizing, oh yeah, I can use these things to attack people too, and that made it more interesting. But yeah, that game is definitely worth $20. It is so fun and so well done, and I definitely recommend playing it. At least even just playing the intro of the game on a TV, because seeing it really big made it a little more dramatic, and the music, just hearing it all blaring through the TV, and it was very dramatic and gripping, and when it ended, I was very hooked already. And it was only I think the intro was literally just a movie, basically, just its own cinematic, and then I was like, whoa, this game is so pretty,
nice.
Can't wait.
Yeah. Well, I'm definitely gonna. Pokemon. What's that, Ben?
I just can't wait for Pokemon.
I'm definitely gonna buy Ori and the Blind Forest. I personally have been playing. I finished Link's Awakening this week, but I also picked up a Untitled Goose Game today, and
so fun.
It's really awesome. And just really stupid.
Do you just run around and fuck with people as a goose?
So you have a to-do list, and all it is just fucking with people as a goose. And so it's one, and they're somewhat vague, and so one of them is rake in the lake, and you have to go to this gardener's garden while he's there, steal his rake and put it in a lake just to be a jerk. And
God, way to spoil it for me.
Or there's one that's I think his name is George, to put on the wrong glasses. And it's like, you just have to trick this kid into dropping his glasses and then trick him into putting on the wrong glasses. And it's just, that's the whole game. It's just like 2, maybe 3 hours of just being a goose and being a jerk. And it's hilarious.
How much?
It's $15 on Switch right now. It's on sale from $20.
I really want to get. I might buy it honestly right after this. Trover Saves the Universe. It's like a 4 or 5 hour VR game made by the Rick and Morty writers and like voiced by them too. And I just watched a review that was like, if you like Rick and Morty, this is pretty fucking hilarious. Like, it's just 4 to 5 hours of just like making you fucking laugh, and I'm totally down.
Yeah, I definitely want to get that one. I would say absolutely $15, 100% go buy Untitled Goose Game. It's hilarious. The puzzles are really fun, and honestly, like, in pretty much every area, there was one that was challenging enough that it took me some time. So I would say definitely go pick it up. It's 100% worth $15. Tim, have you finished it yet?
I have. It was a lot of fun, and I've actually been looking into speedrunning it. Do you want to know what the fastest time someone has completed the game in is?
Okay.
2 minutes and 34 seconds.
2 minutes and 30. What?
Yup.
What, like running through and only doing like main objectives or something?
Yeah, it's the any percent route. All main tasks is about 20 minutes, and then the 100% is 40. But like, people have broken this game down so much already. Like, you can clip boots through walls and stuff. It's fun.
Wow.
Huh.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a really, really great game. I thoroughly enjoyed it. But that means it's time for the news at now.
The news! Yeah! It's the news show. We are now a news show, so we bring you news.
Not while I'm drinking water, please.
Okay, so news at now. We got a few news stories to talk about this week. First of all, we're going to get started with what Ben sent to us. Ben, do you want to run it down, or do you want me to?
You can.
So, Sony, in an effort to compete with other streaming services, I think primarily they're looking at Game Pass right now, but probably Google Stadia in the future. But
Game Pass works so much differently.
No,
and better.
Game Pass works differently for some games. So Sony has cut the price of PS Now. So now, for PS Now, you can get 1 month for $10, 3 months for $25, or 12 months for $60. And Sony, it's not exactly like Game Pass, because PS3 games you have to stream, but PS2 games and PS4 games you can download.
Why is it only PS3 games that you have to stream then? That makes no sense.
The architecture.
Okay, are you positive about that?
Yes.
Because the article that I sent questioned whether you'd be able to run, because they just added GTA 5. And the article I sent questioned whether you'd be able to run GTA 5 online because of the fact that it would be streamed.
So what they were talking about was PC, because PS Now is also available on PC. Because that's been a big focal point of a lot of the articles is both GTA 5 and God of War were added to PS Now today. And something that I think is really stupid is that they were added and they're available until January 2nd of 2020. So they were only added for like 3 months. But people are... A major focal point of all the articles that I saw about it was that you can now play God of War without a PS4.
That's pretty cool.
I mean, if you're streaming it, is it though? But the $60 price point, I think, is the huge thing in this in this story.
Yeah, bringing it down from $100 definitely makes it more accessible.
Oh,
fuck,
totally.
I definitely wasn't paying $100 for it. I don't even know if I want to pay 60 for it, but it's still better than it was.
See, for me, bringing it down from 100 brings it from there's no way I'm going to do that to yeah, I'll probably do that.
Well, and I understand that they can't give away all their first party games because they just have way more great first party games than fucking Xbox does.
They have system sellers.
Yeah, so but only giving those games away for 3 months is kind of not very cool either.
Yeah, that seems really stingy. It's like, I would understand.
Yeah, they're like, okay, gotta beat these fast.
I would understand maybe, I don't know, maybe if they did a 3-month cycle of like, okay, for Q1 we're gonna do.
Well, and I mean they probably will. Like they'll probably put other first party games up. Yeah.
So Q1 could be Spider-Man, Q2 could be Horizon, Q3 could be, let's say, what was that motorcycle game?
Days Gone.
Days Gone, yeah. And then Q4 is God of War.
Motorcycle game.
I knew Ben played it. I knew he would get there for me.
Motorcycles is like the least definitive part of that game. Well, maybe a big part, but not.
I don't know. It was a big part of the trailer.
Yeah, they really made a big deal out of it in the marketing. But so maybe they cycle in and out the first party stuff. Because Ben, you're absolutely right. There's no way that they can give away the first party titles the way Microsoft does with Game Pass. And honestly, with the PS4 in the position they're in the market right now, they wouldn't even want to. Like, Microsoft wants to give those games away because they want to build Game Pass as a service. And like right now, Game Pass is a bigger system seller than any of their individual first party titles.
Yeah.
But like right now, any of Sony's individual first party titles, except maybe that motorcycle game, is selling more PS4s on its own merit than PS Now is. So priorities are kind of reversed. But I think this is a big thing. I think this is really cool because honestly, like with benefits like this, if I just started thinking about, okay, PlayStation Online just costs me $120 a year. That's a much easier pill to swallow. Like online play, 2 free games.
They should. Why? I don't understand why they didn't just match and go 15 for both.
15 a month for both, the same way Microsoft does.
Yeah.
I mean, if you break it down, it's 10 for both. If you buy it in, you buy it in monthly things, annually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but can you buy Game Pass Unlimited or Xbox Live Unlimited or whatever the fuck the thing's called?
Game Pass Ultimate.
Game Pass Ultimate in a year?
No.
Oh, you have to just pay $15 a month?
It's only monthly, and the thing about it is like with Game Pass Ultimate, it's essentially they took the lowest price you could get Xbox Live for, and then they tacked it on to, which was $5 a month, because it was, if you bought Xbox Live annually, it was $60, which comes down to $5 a month.
Okay.
And then they tacked it on to the price of Game Pass for a month. And so they're really just charging you the annual rate monthly instead of...
Yeah, that makes sense.
But, no, I mean, like, because I pay for PlayStation annually anyways, and so I would be totally
I guess
willing,
I do too.
I would be totally willing to pay $10 a month instead of $5 a month all at once, 1 year at a time, for PlayStation Now and PS Plus.
It seems like we end up buying all those fucking first party games anyways, and then like the games that are on it, like, I mean, yeah, I guess some of the PlayStation 3 games could be kind of cool to play, but you have to stream them, and I'm not gonna probably want to play many of the PlayStation 2 games.
But to be fair to the streaming, because I did try it out early, I ran a 7-day trial, and then I tried it out recently. I ran another 7-day trial, and it's much better now. Like I was playing it. I can easily play Metal Gear Solid, and I played a few races, like racing games, and
racists.
Yeah, I played some racists in Call of Duty. No, I played a few racing games, and like racing games are pretty much second only to fighting games as far as like Twitch skills. I mean, maybe some shooters, but
I'd say shooters probably would be second to fighting games.
Yeah, but it worked well. I mean, it worked well enough to play. So,
yeah, I just I don't know. To me, charge me. Like, how much do you think they'd have to charge to put all of their first party games on there and make it?
Probably go back up to that $100 price.
Maybe more if they were gonna.
But if they had all their first party games on something, wouldn't you fucking buy it?
Yes.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's,
I mean,
like probably almost regardless of price tag, just based on the developers that they work with consistently.
Their first party studios. If they were doing the same thing that Microsoft is doing, where it's like day one, all of our first party stuff, it's there, it's on PS Now. Yeah, I mean they could go up to the $100 price tag and I would pay for it. They could go higher than that, much higher than that, and I would pay for it.
Because like I mean, when you think about it, you're paying like
60.
Right now you're paying more. That you're paying like because they usually release like around 4 great first party games a year. That I would say 2 to 4. So that's 120 to fucking 240 that
they could charge 180 and I would probably do it.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's way too much for me. I think 100 is probably my cutoff, even if you're getting like all the first party games and everything.
So if we could split it though, like if you could split it, like because that like with Game Pass, Ultimate, or Game Pass Unlimited or whatever the fuck it's called, you can split it.
So that's a good point, Ben, and I'm glad you brought that up because Game Pass Ultimate you can share, PS Now you cannot. Because I was looking into that because I know Andrew is a huge PlayStation fan, and I was just going to text Andrew today and be like, "Yo, let's split PS Now, $30 each a year." Fuck yeah, let's do that.
But you can't.
You can't.
That's a bummer.
That's some bullshit.
No. Fucking Sony.
And the reason that you can't is because, I mean, I guess you probably could through the downloaded games, but not. The reason that you can't is because of the streaming games. Because even when you're sharing Game Pass Ultimate, I still have to log into Ethan's account on my Xbox to start the download. And then I log in to start the download just like I would for any game that he owns. And then I log out and log into my account. And
I don't think Billy has to do that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
But maybe that's because, well, I don't know. But yeah. I don't think Billy has to do that.
Well, it's pretty good. Pretty good stuff. In other news, Sean Layden, the I think he was the president of Worldwide Studios, Sony Worldwide Studios, is he left PlayStation.
Oh,
now he has been the head of Sony Worldwide Studios for quite some time, and like we were just talking about with PS Now, he's kind of overseen the development and bringing to market of some major first party games. So I guess what I wanted to get from you guys today was just like, how bad do you think this is for Sony? Do you think, because Microsoft seems to be poised to head into the next generation pretty strong, and Sony not like, it's not that Sony is doing bad, it's just that Sony isn't looking to the future as much as Microsoft.
At least it doesn't feel like it. We also haven't seen much on the PS5 or anything that's going to be involved with that yet, where we have from Microsoft.
That's very well said.
I think once that like information is released, I think it'll be a much better time to gauge where they're at.
Yeah.
That's a good point. It doesn't feel like it because they haven't been as outward about their messaging.
Yep. Mm-hmm. But I mean, honestly, I don't see it being a huge struggle for him. I mean, he's just one guy. Yes, he's done a lot for the company, but I'm sure the next guy they get is going to be just as qualified and do just as good a job.
Or it may even be someone from within, you know?
I'm sure it'll be someone internally.
Yeah.
I mean, but Sony losing Sean Layden is comparable to Nintendo losing Reggie, which happened earlier this year, and that was...
Yeah, but Bowser took over, so
it's super lit.
I'm glad they made the Bowser jokes when he first came on his first direct. It was fantastic.
Yeah, that was awesome. Saying. That was awesome. Yeah, no, so we'll see. I mean, the year before, I think that this is probably a strategic move. I think that this is probably something that both parties have been planning for a long time, and that like he's said, "Hey, I'm ready to be done," and they've said, "Okay, let's arrange this so that you can have a successor coming in to, headed into the next generation and really catering that marketing and that messaging, and then launching a new console and hitting the ground running with that." I think is probably why this is happening now. So I guess we'll see. I think that, Tim, like you mentioned, the PlayStation 5 messaging is going to be a huge tell for how this transition is going. Anything else to add?
Yeah. No, I think that's pretty well said.
Did you just say you're transitioning?
Yes, I am transitioning from female back to male. Didn't tell you guys, but I've been female for quite some time now.
I feel like I've been lied to now.
Well,
wow.
That's because I've lied to you. Every time you guys say, "Good job, guys," I'm like, "Yeah, sure." And really internally I'm like, "Call me girl."
Did you just assume my
I'm
gender?
The bearded lady.
I'm the bearded lady. All right, and in other news, Tim is pretty happy about this one, and honestly I am too. So there has been a class action lawsuit filed against Nintendo for Joy-Con drift. And
Switch Lite already drifting.
So
yep.
I've never had Joy-Con drift in anything
until you got your Switch Lite.
So including my Switch Lite, I've never experienced Joy-Con drift, but there is Joy-Con drift in some Switch Lites reportedly. So, and also Nintendo has a second SKU for the Switch Lite already with the FCC, which is indicative that they are pushing forward with a revised Switch Lite just 1 week after the Switch Lite launched. So, seems like Joy-Con drift is an issue. And, I mean, there have been class action lawsuits before, when Sony removed the capability.
Yay, we're all going to get $3.
Well, actually, when Sony removed the capability to install Linux on the PS3, the class action lawsuit, if you could prove that you bought one of those PS3s, the class action lawsuit paid out $55, I think. So that's a game.
Nice.
I mean, I have a Switch and a Switch Lite, so I would get double that, 110.
I mean, I wonder how bad all this like Joy-Con drifting stuff is, because I remember playing, I think it was like Owlboy, and like one of the Joy-Cons, so I pushed it to the left, he would walk, but to the right, he would run. But then you can just go in the settings and you can recalibrate the Joy-Cons so that they'll, you can pick the point where they are like standing straight up, and like, so once I did that, I've never had any problems.
So that sounds more like a calibration issue. Tim, you've had Joy-Con drift, right?
I have had Joy-Con drift on my Splatoon special Joy-Cons, actually. Which kind of saddens me.
Sucks.
Yeah, but it's quite annoying. I was actually using them to play Jedi Outcast, which came out on Switch last week.
Woo.
And my aim, it just keeps listing to the left.
Yeah.
And it's terrible because, like, it's hard to hit anything in that game to begin with. Like, you really feel like what it's to be a stormtrooper, even though you're not one. Like, using their rifle, it's fucking terrible. But add drift to it, it's just unplayable.
Yeah.
So I switched to my Pro controller at that point, and I was okay. But
nice. Ben, your the corners of your pillow make it look like you have cat ears.
Meow. Low key warm take.
Okay.
The Empire should have invested in better rifles.
Yeah, that didn't have fucking drift. Class action lawsuit against the Empire.
You'd probably win that, and then get electrocuted.
A solid lukewarm take there.
Yeah, there you go. So I think that this is probably going to end up as something that they're going to have to pay out, because there have been internal memos that have leaked that have said, if people call in and say they have this, just believe them and repair it for free or replace it for free. And it's been happening constantly. And like the fact that they pushed the Switch Lite out with this, and then they're doing a second SKU so quickly, and means that, and like the fact that they had that memo, kind of, it just all points to like they knew this was happening and they kept doing it, which I think is the real problem here, is that they knew they were selling a defective product and they continue to do it.
Does this make you question Nintendo? Do you think this was Bowser's fault?
That's what's going to happen with the PlayStation 5. No, I don't think this was Doug Bowser's fault, because Doug Bowser took over for Reggie earlier this year, and the Switch came out in 2017. I don't know what kind of timeline you live on, but mine is continuous.
But Bowser could have been in charge of the Joy-Con division at Nintendo.
Doug Bowser, VP of the Joy-Con department.
He's like, I'll get them all. I'll show them.
Considering he's never worked in R&D, I'm gonna say no.
Laugh ensues.
Tim, he was the VP of the Joy-Con department. That's what his business card says.
It's Bowser. He's clearly trying to destroy Nintendo.
I know. My uncle worked at Nintendo. But speaking of Nintendo,
here you are.
They've made a lot of handhelds, which means it's time for the topic of the show.
Low key.
Apparently, Tim wants to kill himself when we get to the topic of the show.
Low key best handheld, the Fleshlight.
Ooh,
I mean, you're not wrong. I can agree with that.
Tim's wrong. Like, yeah, I put hours into mine, 2 minutes at a time.
I don't. I've never used one, honestly, but
excuse me, give me some credit. 30 seconds, please.
30 seconds at a time.
Yeah, I can't say I've ever used one, but I won't lie. If someone was to hand one to me and give me like a few hours alone, I'd be like, yeah, I'm definitely going to try it out.
As long as it was new, I wouldn't use one that someone else had used.
No, dude, they cleaned it out.
I definitely would, have to run that through the dishwasher.
I don't
one
think
for
I'd clean it myself. Like, that's the thing, is like, I wouldn't want to clean.
I mean, if you think about
someone else's pocket pussy, like, no, thank you,
Patrick. I know what you're gonna say, but at least those are self-cleaning, or at least.
What were you gonna say?
Well, nah, Tim got there.
Let's not go there.
Okay. No, so we're gonna be talking about
yes, the real thing.
We're gonna be talking about what the best handheld gaming console of all time is.
Jesus Christ.
And let's get some hot takes real quick, just off the top.
So, quick story off the top. Did you guys hear about that time that there was a judge who was busted using a pocket pussy in court? And when they busted him, they said that they thought that he was either playing a handheld gaming device or using a pocket pussy, and it turned out he was using a pocket pussy.
He would have been better off at the Game Boy.
Probably.
Like,
if he was just back there playing Metroid, like,
it would have been like, Judge, knock it off.
Yeah, come on, man.
But instead, it turned into a situation where it was like, Judge, you're going to jail.
Masturbating in
It's
court.
the Casey Anthony case. It's a serious, Judge. Pay attention.
The Casey Anthony case. Jesus Christ. Can you imagine if that's what it took?
Kids again?
Oh, God. Okay. So what are you guys' favorite handhelds? Tim, you've probably... Ben, I know that you've played a lot. Tim, I bet that you've played more than pretty much anyone else here.
So, hot take, I can tell you the worst one of all time.
Virtual Boy.
No, because that's not considered a handheld.
Okay.
Considering you need to stand for it.
Okay.
And you can't. Yeah, no. I'm Tiger Electronics Gamecom.
Yes. I remember
worst
that.
ever.
And it sucks. But
one of the first handheld consoles to be able to connect to the internet. Other than that, was not worth shit.
I will disagree with you. Gizmodo.
I mean, if you want to go that route, put the R Zone in there too. But we're here to talk about better ones, not the shit.
Gizmondo is what it was. But yeah, so what do you guys think is your favorite handheld of all time?
Man, as a kid, the Game Boy Advance SD or whatever, the
SP?
one that could flip SP that could flip open and had the. As a kid, that was hands down my favorite thing ever. I will say, as an adult, the Switch probably like takes my top spot, but I actually might throw it out for the Sony PSP. You could put the internet on it.
You're really speaking mine and Ben's language here.
Like I loved my PSP. Like I had the OG, like straight up original, and
the one that's super fat.
Yeah, it's like fat and clunky and shit. Like I used to love fucking playing games on there. I love that so much. But then being able to like get the internet on it and like watch YouTube and shit on it.
Oh
like
yeah, YouTube. Yeah,
YouTube. All the internet. YouTube was just ground zero.
That's what you told your mom you were watching.
Oh yeah, she'd be like, "What's all that moaning?" And I'd be like, "I'm just super."
It's YouTube, Mom. Shut up!
Don't come in.
I told you never to bother me while I'm cleaning my room. So
the SP was cool because of that backlit screen for sure. Like
the second gen SP.
The first gen SP didn't have the backlit screen?
The first gen SP was a front lit screen.
What?
Yeah.
Like the lights like
it was like a light at the top and bottom above the screen that was like pointed down at the screen.
Oh, weird.
Yeah. A backlit screen looks so much better.
Playing Final Fantasy Tactics Advance. Oof.
Did you have it on did you have the second gen or the first gen, the one with the backlit screen or the front lit screen, Andrew?
I had the original, like the front lit one. I'm pretty sure because I remember it came out that year and my mom gave it to me for Christmas and I was just like, "What?"
Oh, I think Tim is about to show us how you tell.
Yeah, I actually have a front lit one.
It's the SP001 versus the SP101. The 101 is backlit. The 001 is front lit. If you're ever picking up a used SP, look at the serial or look at the not the serial
the model number in the top left corner.
001 not valuable. 101 very valuable.
Yeah, but you can if you have a 001, you can just look at the very top and the very bottom of the screen just by tilting it, and you can see the light there.
Yep.
And I mean, it works well for what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, I love that Game Boy. That thing, I bought so many weird like accessories for it. I bought like a game changer thing so you could slide it on and then put 3 games in, and then all you had to do was turn it off and flick a switch and turn it back on, and you could do like a different game. Yeah, so I constantly had Metroid Fusion, Final Fantasy Tactics Advance, and I think like Advanced Wars or something as like pretty much the 3 games that I just alternated between.
Tim,
I approve of all of these.
Tim, here's that list of games, and he's playing Game Boy under his desk.
I didn't play a ton of Advance because I think I'm partially because I'm a little older than you guys.
Ben, you're not alone in that because I didn't play a ton of Advance either.
But we're both a little older than both of them.
Yeah.
So
that's fair.
How old are you two?
I turned 30 this year.
I'm 29.
Officially, as of today.
Oh man, yeah. I'm only turning 28 in the next 3 months.
Yeah,
God, I feel young now.
From my birth feeling. You guys were definitely at that age where it was like, Andrew, it seems like you were maybe more on the tail end, but still there. Where like the Game Boy Advance was definitely like, you were still young enough to really be playing a lot of Game Boy.
I was still playing the Game Boy Advance SP when the DS came out, and I never played the DS. I never like had a DS.
So I got a DS. I had a DS Lite. I never had the original DS, but I remember that Paul Baisley had the original DS.
Those things were tanks.
Yeah, they were big.
A friggin' layer
cake. The DS Lite was sick. I had a lot of fun with it.
So I never owned a DS, but I played a DS quite a bit, like the original one. And going from the DS to the DS Lite, I would say going from the Switch to the Switch Lite is a similar jump to going from the DS to the DS Lite.
Yeah, but the DS to the DS Lite, you didn't lose functionality, which you do with.
You are correct. I'm not saying the Switch Lite is better all around, but as a handheld, it's much better. Which is basically how I treat I thought Andrew was masturbating. He was just scratching his stomach and playing some Game Boy.
Scratching my stomach. Scratching my stomach. You want to see it?
Scratched her baiting.
Scratched her baiting.
You ever just lean back and you just scratch your stomach?
You missed your glass there.
It just came out like awkwardly. It's weird.
So Ben, you brought up the DS Lite. I think the DS Lite is definitely a contender. Like, the DS Lite was a hell packed out drink.
Oh no!
Are you sipping beer out of your grinder? Ew.
Not in the grinder. Oh. Ew. How's that taste for you?
We're all sitting here.
All that keef.
This might be a low moment for Ben. He's like, oh, there's some keef in there. Oh.
Drink a lot of plant matter.
And the worst part is he looked surprised when it tasted bad.
Ew. He has to get up and go, like,
oh God, go vomit. No, but so the DS Lite definitely has to be considered in that like contendership.
Yeah, and I'd honestly say the Lite would be better than the DSi, if only for the reason that it could play Game Boy Advance games. Yeah. Yes, you got the store, I think, with the DSi was the first one that had that, the Nintendo eShop.
Yeah, it was.
But it didn't make up enough to not be able to play Game Boy Advance games anymore.
No, definitely not. And like I remember when the 2DS XL came out, there was a lot of conversation about like, man, because a lot of people like really loved the 2DS XL, myself included. It's because it's just such a sleek form factor. It's so much sleeker than all of the rest of the 3DS family.
It's got one glaring problem though that I can't look past.
Speakers.
Yep, the speakers are basically where your hands cup around the bottom of it.
Yeah.
Very unfortunate.
But
it looks like they definitely learned with the Switch Mini in that sense, because they are not near where your hands are going to rest. So
they
I'll give
rolled them up and pushed them inward so that they're more pointed right at you. But I just can't get over Ben drinking the grinder. But no, it's there was a lot of conversation around when the 2DS XL came out of like, imagine if they had been like, hey, this is the last one, like have it all, and they had just thrown like a hybrid Game Boy Advance slot into it.
That would have been cool.
God,
or even if they just had like like some sort of emulator thing.
Yeah, if they had thrown a slot in that can take Game Boy and Game Boy Advance games, I think the 2DS XL would have sold much better than it did. I think they could have, like, just based on just pure nostalgia alone, they could have sold a bunch of units.
Yeah, because I'm sure there are a bunch of people who still have a bunch of their Game Boy Advance, Game Boy, and Game Boy Color games.
And even for the people that don't have those games, there would be people that would like have the nostalgia of like, because it did, the 2DS XL in a way was kind of the end, like it was the mark of an end of an era, right? Because the Switch had really come along and replaced it and succeeded the 3DS entirely, but it was also succeeding the Wii U. And so the Switch coming along and saying like, you know, this is it now, and then discontinuing the handheld only, was kind of the end of an era, the end of the Game Boy era. And I think going out on that finale would have been a really cool send-off. And I think that it would have gotten a lot of people who had lapsed from gaming just to buy it out of nostalgia. It would have targeted those same customers that are like buying the NES Mini and the SNES Mini out of nostalgia.
Yeah. Dark times.
Yeah. But Dark times, I'm gonna go ahead and like motion that we just eliminate everything pre Game Boy Advance SP. Everything Nintendo, at least, pre Game Boy Advance SP, because
Sega Game Gear.
Well, I was going to say everything Nintendo, but
the Game Gear was weirdly awesome, but
its battery life was terrible.
What did it take? What was it, 8 or 12
double A's? Yeah, it was ridiculous.
And I think it was only 6.
It was 4 per side.
4 per. Oh Jesus! So it was 8.
Yeah,
but
I think it was the Atari Lynx that had 12. One of them did. Like, the Lynx was even more of a battery hog, if I remember correctly.
So, Tim, I think that what you're remembering, and my this was going to be one that I was going to throw out there, the Sega Nomad. Because...
Nomad? You mad?
The Nomad was a handheld Sega Genesis.
Oh, sick.
When did that come out? I'm having trouble remembering.
It was during the Sega Genesis time.
Well, obviously...
Yeah, I mean, I know it was early 90s. It's just the year.
Let's see. Sega Nomad, October 1995.
Yep.
So maybe it came out when the Saturn was current. But even if it was just last gen, like, imagine having a full-blown, like, fully powered Xbox 360 portable. I mean, that's basically what the Switch is. And we're tripping over the Switch. But
that is pretty cool.
The Sega Nomad.
I'd honestly throw the Switch up there towards the top, if not the top, considering what it does and what it has.
Absolutely.
But like, if we're discounting the Switch, considering it is also a home console.
No, we don't have to do that. Because I played even before I got the Switch Lite, I was still playing the Switch mostly in handheld.
Yeah, I do too.
Almost exclusively in handheld. And so I'm with you, Tim. I mean, like, I'm going to play The Witcher. Like, I'm going to play The Witcher 3 on Switch. And, like, Switch Lite, like, it is significantly smaller. It's so reminiscent of a Game Boy Advance to me. And, like, that's the feeling that I get is because I had the first-gen Game Boy Advance. I played it for about a year, maybe a year and a half. And then I kind of got to that point where I was too old for Game Boy. And I was like, I didn't get back into handheld gaming until I got the PSP. But that year and a half was sweet, and that's what the Switch Lite makes me nostalgic for, is that Game Boy Advance time.
Nostalgic,
yes.
Yeah, I don't know which one's the best. I just like handheld gaming.
I love handheld gaming.
Like, in situations where there's not a lot of things to do, it's a great thing to do.
I mean, you know what they always say, idle hands, you know.
they play Game Boy under the desk in court.
Yep, totally a Game Boy. Totally not something else.
Well, maybe that's what he calls his dick. I don't know.
Like,
he calls it his
court, under
What'd you say, Ben?
In court, under the judge's robes.
Yeah. Judge, you got an itch going there or what?
It's like I'm playing with my Game Boy.
Yes.
Judge, is that a pocket, or are you just happy to see me?
So I was wrong. The Sega Saturn launched in North America in May of 1995. So the Sega Nomad was a last gen console, but it was portable last gen. And what was really cool about the Nomad was that it had TV out. So it was just straight up a Sega Genesis. You could plug it into a TV, or you could just unplug it and take it with you.
All right, low-key best handheld gaming device, the little screen in the Sega Dreamcast controllers.
No, not at all.
I'll give Ben some points on that one. That was good.
But also, Andrew makes a good point about PSP. And then, I mean...
Baby's first porn machine.
It like, we do have to...
It had other uses.
Well, not to me. No.
Video games.
Video games, yes. No, I know that we're not going to be able to... I know we're not going to be able to come to a consensus on this, but like, because we would have to discuss like what defines and what constitutes best. But like the fact that the PSP Go was so far ahead of its time, in that like the PSP Go had a dock that plugged into the TV and synced with a DualShock 3, and you could just come home, put your PSP Go on the dock, and it would charge and it would output to the TV, and you could pick up a DualShock 3 and play your PSP games on your TV. Which
I didn't know it did that. Damn.
I didn't have one. Pat, did you have one?
I never had a PSP Go. I wouldn't mind having one.
I never owned a PSP.
What?
So
what?
Yeah.
You can't say that. We can't say, like, I don't feel like any of us can say that was the best, because none of us ever played that.
No, and I know, and that's why I'm saying, like, I don't think that we'll be able to come to a consensus, because we would need to define, like, okay, what does it mean to be the best? Is it, like, innovative? Is it what
I would also really kind of want to play them next to each other, all of them.
Yeah, that would be actually a really cool experience. I have a lot. I bet between Tim and I, we could get a bunch of them covered.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I've got a DS Lite. I've got a Game Boy Color. I've got a PS Vita and PS Vita.
Tim's got an Advance.
And
I've got a 2DS XL. And I've got a Switch and a Switch Lite.
I'm just going to say this. The PSP was better than the Vita, and the Vita should be counted out immediately.
So let's not throw hate at the Vita.
The Vita was pretty hot.
I loved the Vita.
Its biggest downfall was the touchpad on the back.
Its biggest downfall was the fact that there were so many fucking gimmicks that drove the price up, so nobody bought it. And so, because nobody bought it, no one developed for it.
The worst gimmick
was the touchpad
on the back.
But it led to some really cool advertising.
But it also led you to be really pissed off because you pressed the wrong button accidentally, or pressed a button accidentally because you were holding the thing wrong in fucking FIFA while you're playing your friend online.
I remember Ben pulling a sock out of his work bag, out of like his school and work backpack. He just like starts pulling his Vita out of this sock. And he used a sock as his carrying case. It was very funny.
Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do.
It's the best kind of carrying case.
Vita and a Vita still.
And the Vita broke because you were carrying it around in a sock.
No regrets.
Okay, so we won't be able to come to a consensus, but does everyone know at least what their personal favorite was?
No.
I mean, if we're talking like old school, probably the Game Boy Advance SP. If we're talking including what's recently come out, then Switch.
Okay,
hands down, it beats it all because it has everything you ever need from Nintendo, and it's gonna be getting more every day.
Pocket / color, bro. OG Game Boy / color is where I spent the most time, honestly.
Wow. All right, Andrew.
But I still like the Switch a lot.
mean, for me, it's definitely a toss-up between, I guess, like the original PSP and the Switch. But I'd probably agree with Tim. Like, it's just might as well go with the Switch. It's like the PSP was cool, but the Switch definitely has more functionality and capability.
OG Game Boys, what got me hooked on video games?
That and Star Wars Droid Works.
Well, that was later, but yeah.
Well, so I personally, there's definitely some recency bias here. I love the Switch Lite, and I would say probably the PSP 3000. I owned the 1000, but the 3000 was slimmer, had better battery life, more onboard storage, and was still hackable. So I'd say it's a toss-up for me between the PSP 3000 and the Switch Lite. But
okay, so
what do the listeners think?
Yeah, what do you guys think?
I'm going to Twitter and they are saying, "Fuck you guys."
Y'all
Fuck
suck.
you. This show isn't live. All right. Well, I guess I'll give me a minute. You guys want to riff, and I'll pull out a trivia card, and we can squeeze some trivia in here real quick.
You want me to riff?
I'm a scat man.
No, not riff like that.
Hashtag copyright strike.
Oh man, that might be my new fucking go-to karaoke song.
Please
You
don't
just go
mention
up there.
karaoke, because then Jillian will just want to do karaoke on game night.
Oh, that's a great idea.
If there's no karaoke machine there, I will be disappointed.
We can figure out a karaoke machine, because YouTube can really just be a karaoke machine. All you need is a microphone to go along with it.
That's true.
I'm working on finding some. Okay. All right. What is the name of Cuphead's brother? There's no multiple choice this time. You guys just have to submit answers.
The other player
Yes.
character?
Yeah.
It's Mugman.
Yeah, it's Mugman.
Tim?
Yeah, it is. I agree with Andrew on that one.
Final answer?
Yep.
Andrew?
Sure.
All right,
Like,
Andrew.
Just be like, you're fucking wrong.
Andrew was correct, and you guys just rode his coattails all the way to a free point.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, we did.
Ben was like, yeah, it's Mugman. Obviously.
Caring is caring. You know.
All right, so
If the whole team doesn't make it to the finals, then what's the point?
Ben has a commanding lead at 7 points. In second
Only
place.
7?
Or no, sorry.
Like 12.
Ben, I was looking at Andrew. Ben has a commanding lead at 12. Second place is Tim at 8. Third is Andrew at 7. Fourth is Nathan at 2. Evan is in fifth at 1, but also 100, still batting 1,000.
That's true. So the better once.
I think he's going to be back on next week, so we'll see. We'll see if
Have you told him that his last name is the same as our vice principal in middle or in high school? Mrs. Teague.
Evan Schlesinger.
I thought he was Evan Teague.
The top 3 people at the end, I definitely think that the last people should just give their points to the third place person.
Yeah, third place.
Yeah,
that would push you up into second place, so you'd no longer be eligible for them.
yeah, but that's after
Tim
I
is
get the
counting
point.
these fucking points. All right, well, that's all we've got for you guys tonight. Make sure to check out everything else we do over all in one spot over at coldnorthpro.com. The return of Legal Speak will be happening this week, so keep your eye out for that on Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern. We'll be back next week discussing whatever else happens in the next 7 days. So until then, reset.
Reset.
I'm finally.
I need TV for my bunghole.
I'm a scat man.